Alright guys, welcome back to another video. This is How to Cut 101. Alright, what is going on guys? I get this question all the time, and again I thought what the perfect platform to do this on than YouTube. So far I've talked about macros, how to take supplements, what supplements to take, in so many different videos. So make sure you check out my how-to videos in the YouTube section below. So you've decided now is the best time to try and lose some weight, lose some body fat, tone up, get shredded, everything like that. So what I'm going to do throughout this video is tell you some tips and tricks on how to do that. So you can either be, like I said in numerous different videos, you can be in 3 different states. You can be in deficit, maintenance, or a surplus. So specifically today we're talking about being in a deficit, meaning that we need to be in a reduced amount of calories. How do we do that? We have to find our caloric maintenance level and then decrease from there. So what I suggest to do before you watch this video, if you haven't already, go and watch how to work out my macros, that video that I've suggested before. Otherwise nothing in this video is going to make sense. So click on that, come back to this video, and then follow along. So obviously in order for our body to lose weight and to lose body fat especially, it needs to be in a caloric deficit. However, our body doesn't like change. It does everything in its power to stay the same, and we're built to stay the same. Okay, so your body can go through the 90 years or 100 years that you live and happily just go along in its merry way without changing anything very often. So we need to force it to lose weight, and there's different types of fads out there, and there's different types of ways to do that. So one of them you could look at is increasing your cardio or decreasing your food intake. Well, if anyone knows me, I love food, so there's no way in hell that I'm going to try and decrease my food if I have to. So normally what my suggestion is you just increase your cardio, and there's 2 ways of doing that. You can either do that by steady state cardio or high intensity interval training. So there's 2 different benefits from those things. So steady state protects your muscles from degeneration, because you're going along in a steady state and it's just burning at a constant rate. However, high intensity training increases your cardiovascular system, so it trains your cardiovascular system to be more efficient under high intensity, and also it burns a hell of a lot of fat after the workout as well. However, it does damage your body quite a lot in terms of if you're in a caloric deficit for, let's say, more than 12 or 13 weeks, and you're doing high intensity training all the time, it kind of has a negative effect on that weight loss, if that makes sense. However, throughout this video as well, all these points that I make, these are stuff that I've done in the past as well, that I've researched on as well, but you also need to realize that your body is unique to yourself. And you know, I could say go do high intensity training, but you might be a steady state person. I recently just sat in a lecture a while ago talking about, you know, everyone is completely different, and there is actually a reason why we're built the way we're built. So you've got to understand that maybe, you know, let's say your friend is really into high intensity training and he's getting absolutely shredded because he's doing that as well as a diet. But you've got to understand that you may just not like high intensity, and your body might just not your body might not react to high intensity the way it should. So first of all, you've got to look at your calories, and once you've got that sorted, you want to decrease those. Then you've got to find out the training method in which works for you in terms of fat loss, whether you're someone that likes decreasing calories or food intake, or increasing cardio and keeping the food the same. Either way is going to have the same benefit. It's just what personally works for you. And then also there's diets. Okay, so diet is the #1 reason you'll lose weight. Cardio, workouts, everything like that will aid it, but whatever you're putting into your body is going to have a detrimental or positive effect. So you've got to look at that in a really kind of precise way and say, what am I actually eating, and is this going to be beneficial for me? So let's say over a 12-week period of dieting or a 16-week period of dieting, is it going to be beneficial? You know, you can do 2 hours of workouts a day, although that might work for you, but if you go to Burger King or you get a high fat meal, that's just going to have a detrimental effect against your body fat, and you will not lose the weight that you want to lose. So you've got to look at it from a point of view of, yes, I've got my calories in order now, I've got my training, but what's my diet looking like and what am I actually doing? How am I going to use these foods in order to hit my caloric intake goals? So there's different fads or different ideas out there. There's if it fits your macros, which I use all the time. There's low carb diets. There's intermittent fasting, so you go for a period of time without eating, and then you eat all your calories in a small amount of time. So let's just take it back a step and talk about those three. If it fits your macros has been around for a period of time, and it's had great success in kind of the fitness industry, and obviously probably if you're watching this YouTube video you would have seen numerous other YouTubers talk about if it fits your macros and how beneficial it is, and I believe it's really beneficial, because I'm not a person that would ever stop someone from eating something. I'll just say, how about we just like kind of make that portion size a little bit smaller and go from there, because obviously if I say to people out there you can't have this and you can't have that, they're just going to go and do it anyway and just not tell me. So I'd rather encourage you to form good habits rather than cutting things out of your life. So if it fits your macros, as an example, let's say take my calories. I have 2,000 calories a day. I like using the analogy that you have $2,000 throughout the day, and you have to make those $2,000 fit with all your foods. So for instance, my oats in the morning, tuna and rice at lunch, and then a muscle fuel meal in the morning, in the night will probably round about be 1,500 calories. So I leave myself 500 calories a day to kind of supplement my snacks. So based on those 500 calories, I dictate the other meals, and that's another good video that I've made is how to use MyFitnessPal. And MyFitnessPal is the #1 tracker out there for food tracking, and I recommend going to watch that video as well and understanding how you track foods and how you be accountable for your food intake, because again, diet is the #1 reason we lose weight. Moving on to low carb diet. So low carb diet is something I haven't personally tried, because I don't really like cutting too many carbs out of my my diet, and being as busy that I am at work and working out as well, I like keeping my carbs. I just increase my cardio. However, I have done my research and I do understand the reasons behind low carb diet, so I wouldn't say I wouldn't recommend it. You just have to understand that being in a low carb diet means you have a low amount of insulin, and being in a high carb diet means you have a high amount of insulin. So insulin being the #1 reason we store fat. So obviously if you have increased in insulin levels, you put on a lot of fat, that kind of leads to diabetes and obesity. And then being in a low carb diet means that you have low amounts of insulin, which means you don't store fat very often, or a lot of fat. So that's kind of the basic overview of low carb diets. I'm not going to go into any much further, but if you want me to go into further details on any of these points, make sure you comment down below and give this video a like, and I will definitely make it a mission to bring you some more content on these areas and these kind of topics as well on these Monday videos. So going into intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is pretty much just giving yourself a period of time where you're not having any food, and you're just maybe relying on caffeine or kind of a suppressant to get you through those periods of time. The reason this is beneficial is because it makes your body go into certain kind of stages and increases testosterone levels and kind of levels like that, and makes you accelerate fat loss. I don't often do it because I love food and I kind of just rather snack a little bit and keep my calories quite low. However, I have tried it a few times and I have seen benefits from it. If you want to do more research, down below I will link a few articles about intermittent fasting. I don't want to go over it too much because this is just cutting, but if you want me to make a video on that, I'm more than happy to, so comment down below. And if you want to see an intermittent fasting video, I know a fair amount on it, so I will do a video on it if you want to, but for this kind of video purposes, I'm just introducing the topic. So once you've found a diet that works for you, then you have to understand that being in a caloric deficit for a long period of time is going to have detrimental effects on your body. So having detrimental effects on your body isn't good. So like I said previously at the start of this video, your body is made to survive, okay? So it's quite happy at being at a maintenance level calories, hence why you don't put on or lose any weight. That's called your maintenance level, and that's what your body thrives on. So you'll notice throughout your life that when you're low carbs, you're really angry, or it's called hangry, and when you're kind of high carbs, you kind of feel lethargic and lazy and don't want to do too much. So those two states are your body saying to yourself, like, come on, you need to change and you need to get back to that maintenance level in order to perform perfectly. That's why there's nutritionists and that's why there's sports scientists out there that work with like the likes of All Blacks and all that kind of stuff, because there's massive amounts of money and massive amounts of pressure on those guys, so they have to be at optimal levels. The same as you know, bodybuilders won't diet for more than 16 weeks or you know, like these kind of things. And this is another question I get: what is the perfect amount of time to diet for? Well, I always put something in place for my clients, and I always put something in place for everyone, and always give them a time frame and be nice and specific, because if you're not specific and you don't set goals, like I've always stated in all my videos, there's nothing going to be achieved because you won't see progress. So once you've stuck to, once you've had an idea of how long you want to diet for, you have to stick to that and you have to lock it in, and then know yourself after that period of time you can go back to your maintenance level, because you know, the likes of the bodybuilders and those physique models and stuff you see on the magazines, that isn't real life. They're there for maybe 6 or 7 hours shooting, and then they'll go straight back to maintenance level the next couple of days and they'll get back to their normal body weight. No one is that body fat for 365 days of the year, period. Anyone that says that is lying. There will be periods of the year that they will be like that, but there won't be long durations. They won't stay at that, you know, 4 or 5% body fat for very long, because if you ask them, it's not a fun time. You know, everything's depleted. Sex hormones decrease under 12%. Different hormones stop working under 12%. So, you know, the optimal body fat, again, you should go and see a physician and stuff like that and find out what your optimal body fat is when your hormones stop working, because everyone again is different. So you can't compare anyone else. So let's say your friend is, you know, 10% and he's functioning perfectly. He could just be, you know, a freak, and he could be something completely different to you. So you can't copy. It's not a copy and paste method. Diets are the worst thing to do a copy and paste method for, because there's so many things that can go wrong. So, you know, I recommend, and I think that what works best is anywhere between 12 to 16 weeks of dieting, and that gives you a leeway of, you know, 2 or 3 weeks of adjusting. Yeah, so you've got to understand that your body becomes comfortable with a lot of things very, very fast. So let's say you've been dieting for 5 weeks at a certain amount of calories, and then you've been losing weight consistently, you know, 500 to a kilo a week, a kilo being drastic, 500 being normal, 500 grams. Your body will most likely get used to that maintenance or that amount of calories, and then that will become your new maintenance level. Okay, so when you're dieting for a long period of time, the maintenance level that you started at, and then obviously decreased it by then, that number will change again, because your body will become become adjusted to that. So then you'll have to decrease it again as well. Obviously, you don't want to decrease it too much to the point where you're not eating anything. Your body will just naturally lose fat as it wants to, but you've got to understand that maybe sometimes if you are trying to cut and you kind of hit that wall, your body's probably just used to that amount of calories. So I would recommend just decreasing it just a little bit, and then seeing how that goes as well. So you've got to realize that when you're dieting, there's no like rule book, or there's no cheat sheet, there's no nothing. Again, like I said, your body is completely yourself, so it's not the same as anyone else, and you've got to understand that there's so many different variables that go into it, and you've just got to keep working at it, and there's no perfect method. It's just trial and error, and how you go from there. Yeah, so that is my tips and tricks of cutting or being in a caloric deficit, and trying to lose some weight. So if that did help you guys, make sure you leave a like on this video. If you want to see anything else on these Monday sections or Monday series, make sure you comment down below what you guys want to see, and of course subscribe to the channel if you did like the content. But of course, I will see you guys in the next video.